I don't think, I know where it came from. I don't know if you'd say China's to blame. Certainly we didn't get an early run on it. It would have been helpful if we knew about it earlier.
A lot of Canadians are growing increasingly frustrated with China and asking, what can we do? What should we do? What are the options on the table? There are the frustrations, of course, that China lied, that China downplayed the extent of the coronavirus. That cost us lives, that cost us time. Now there are the reports from U.S. sources that this did not necessarily originate from that Wuhan wet market, but from a lab down the street. A bioweapon? Probably not so sure. Seems more like they're just poking around doing testing into viruses, but still, this is not a good sign at all. Canadians want to see China face some sort of consequences for this, and also further asking questions, how do we distance ourselves from them? How do we insulate ourselves from the worst aspects of the Chinese communist authoritarian regime in Beijing? Well, some of the action items are already on the table. Ban Huawei. In fact, this is something that Secretary of State Mike Pompeo just reissued a call for Canada explicitly to do the other day on a media roundtable call.
We think installing Huawei equipment in a country's telecom infrastructure presents enormous national security risk. This is a entity that is controlled by the Chinese government, and for Canadian citizens' privacy, to have telecom infrastructure that's controlled by the Chinese Communist Party is a mistake from a national security and a privacy perspective.
So you've got that action item. You've got another one banning all state-owned enterprises from buying up Canadian companies. It's true, Chinese corporations who are owned by the Chinese government, they want to buy up really important assets here in Canada. And the federal government generally has a say, yay or nay. Justin Trudeau got one of the calls right. He said no to one Chinese corporation buying the construction giant Aecon the other year. Well, let's keep that momentum going. And in fact, let's turn it into a law that says no deals ever, no SOEs buying any assets in Canada. One European Union official actually said the other day that countries should consider buying stocks in their important companies, tech firms, to stop the Chinese government from going in and buying up those companies while those stocks are cheap. A number of other things we should be doing. One thing Andrew Scheer campaigned on in the last federal election, Canada withdrawing from the Asian Investment Infrastructure Bank. What is this thing? Well, Canada chips in a bunch of money for it, and it is a bank like the World Bank or the International Monetary Fund, but it is driven by Chinese values, and it's part of China's attempts to remake the world and remake global finance in their favor. There are lots of other simple things we can do as well, like when their ambassadors mock us to our faces, which they've done a number of times in the past year and a half, like when they suggested Canadians were white supremacists because they wanted to see Michael Kovrig and Michael Spavor released. We've got to tell them that is unacceptable. No more sheepishness, no more niceties. We have to be clear about what we will and will not tolerate. That's just the first in a few of a long laundry list that I have, and we've got to bring those issues to the fore and make this a nonpartisan issue that all Canadians want to see this happen. Because I anticipate that the next federal election, well, it'll be about a number of things that the past one was not, including a post-mortem on COVID-19, but it'll also be a referendum on China. And all politicians have to be aware that all Canadians are going to want their government to get tougher.